Birds.
So guys, were you tired of fighting dudes? I bet you wanted to fight birds instead. How about that? Yeah.
How about I fight a giant train first and then some birds?
Can I go off topic for just a sec? People wanted me to talk about the Scarecrow and Batman, and we're never gonna play that game, so... the reason why... Scarecrow actually works more of a device than something that's scary. His whole purpose is to let you know things about characters. Like, for example, Batman's parents are dead. or what he's afraid of. But I think the coolest part in the Scarecrow part of... I'm talking about the first game, Arkham Asylum, was how it got kind of... I don't know if it's meta or if it's just like wink and nod at the camera. But there's a part where you're strapped in a crazy jacket and you get a game over sign because Joker shoots you in the face or something like that. And it's actually bringing the fear forward of a gamer instead of just Batman. And that, I think, was one of the smartest things I've ever seen. Like, that, all the Scarecrow stuff was pretty scary, but it was more about psychological fucking with you kind of stuff.
It even had a QuickTime event for a button that didn't exist. I forget what it was. Like, it was like use the third thumbstick or something to break free. And then you're like, wait, the what? And then you die, and you're like, what? But I see, the game's just screwing with me. I thought that was an awesome moment.
Yeah.
Without warning, the headache stabbed at my brain.
The headache stabbed my brain.
All this talk of Batman gives Alan Wake the headache.
Oh, that shit really irks me. Hold on.
This is just an observation.
Okay, Josh first.
How much better would this game have been if Alan Wake's voice actor was not the guy that he is, but was instead Elias Toufexis, who voiced Adam Jensen?
Yes.
Just let that sit for a minute.
Well, I mean, I am for anybody but this guy. This guy has kind of this Karth Onassi thing going where he's just way too mellow. He sounds like...
I blame that on the direction, because have you seen the Mr. Scratch video for the DLC?
It did them no good.
No.
As they were taken by the dark.
I would recommend watching that.
Oh, where he like... So, we're not gonna play the DLC, right?
I don't think so.
Let's talk about it. So, from what I understand,
I haven't
DLC
played it myself, though, actually.
Has, like, the different, like, weird parts of Alan Wake's head, like the psychotic part, or the chaotic part, or something like that. And then the manic part, and so like you are fighting yourself as you get through the an island part, and you think that you get
part of Alan Wake's brain would be like, I'm very excited.
It's a broom closet.
I don't know. It's something like that. It's like a weird part of your brain. I know one of them is chaotic or some shit like that. Oh, angry maybe? Like the angry part?
I'm very angry. I'm very upset.
No, I'm not gonna do an interview for your stupid show.
I think watch the thing. I think it can show you that the actor is capable of being more than monotone, but the direction here very clearly is read it monotone.
Yeah, and that's a big part of what undercuts all of this is, you know, if you could just read these pages and come up with your own conclusions, that would be so much better than having this guy read it in this super calm monotone, like he's reading a bedtime story to children.
Do you think they were going for like an audiobook narrator type sound to it?
I wonder. That's a good.
No,
that's a good.
I don't know. Audiobooks aren't like sleepy time. They can't be, or people would fall asleep while the audiobook.
Oops.
I'll tell you what they should have done. They should have gotten Kevin Michael Richardson to do the voice acting.
What happens when they actually try to turn this into an actual Stephen Hawking miniseries, or Stephen King?
Stephen Hawking, that'd be awesome.
Oh man.
and then I shot the Taken.
That's fucked up.
Playing this game as a guy in a wheelchair and having all the narration be the Microsoft Sam voice.
Actually, once I mounted a floodlight to my chair, it got pretty easy.
Oh, you guys, that's fucked. Oh wait, no, he's terrible towards women. Keep going.
He is?
What
What?
can a dude that can't even move be terrible
guys,
towards
you know
women?
what?
Do you realize
You know
how
what
hard you'd
this
have to work
needs?
for that guy to be terrible to you?
Maybe the machine
You'd have to go all the way over there and let him be
Need
terrible
moving
to you.
platform puzzles.
If you don't want Stephen Hawking to be terrible to you, take one step back.
He romances these ladies with his wonderful robot voice, and then he breaks their heart. That's what happens.
Hey baby, I know physics and shit.
You know what? At
Can I
least
just
we're
say
not
that
shooting
fucking worst
guys.
at doing the Stephen Hawking voice.
Yeah,
This
this
game
is
really
way
needed
harder
this.
on the console. I will
This
say.
feels out of place. This feels like it should be in goddamn Mirror's Edge.
Oh wait, no.
This
You
is
know,
like a
I thought this was-
BioWare
Or
thing.
Assassin's Creed, except you'd be able to do more in either of those games.
This actually made me compare the game and think about, like, Silent Hill had a lot of weird sort of, oh really, I'm gonna do a dumb little Silent Hill 2. I call it as if that's the only one.
It is the
It
other
has a
one.
bunch of those weird, stupid little puzzles that's like, really, I'm gonna stop and do this. I'm gonna put these coins in this thing. That's kind of goofy. But for some reason, I was invested enough in the story to just go with it, and that's a big part of it. Is if you really get into a character, you can kind of go with it. And if a story's not working, then something like this makes it worse.
It is a nice, like, break from the fighting baddies, running from birds, darkness, and weird growling sounds and slow-mo cam. But like, okay, so this is a mine that's been abandoned for 40 years. This is a mine that has been abandoned for Seamus years, since 1970, and there's all these nice working lights, all the equipment works, and also, what the hell kind of commute to work is this? This must have been a really awkward way to get across the chasm here.
That's a good point.
And
you know, they had to. Miners in the olden days had to have very good boots because to kick their ladders with every morning. Can I also just say that I kind of find the trend obnoxious of having, like, every single time you make a command, it pops up, like, with the button or key press or, like, WASD you need to do and the name of the task. After the 50th time I climb a ladder, I know what I'm doing, game. I've learned the finger motion.
Also, can we please get rid of push a button to stick yourself to a ladder gameplay? I hate that. I just want to walk up to a ladder and automatically, like, assume the ladder climbing position and then climb the ladder.
Oh, it's so bad in Mass Effect 3. Oh my god, you guys. Ladder climbing.
Wait,
in
Mass Effect 3 has
3.
ladders?
Oh, yeah. And they're terrible. Because sometimes they're in a hole, and you have to, like, jimmy your way in. It's fucking terrible. I hate it.
Like,
We're ahead of
that's
where
what
you
they
played
decided.
again, aren't we, Russ?
That's what makes it compelling gameplay. Oh, we got ladders.
Boy, look at this. This is an impressive engine. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
This thing is pushing some serious polygons. Look at those trees. I mean, for a action engine like this, that is a lot of stuff. Outdoor scenes like that, especially of giant mountains, that takes a good engine to push all that without having frame rate drops and stuff.
It's like they built the engine specifically for an open world game, and then they decided, you know what, we don't need one of those. So I guess we'll just push all these scenery pixels.
Boy, this would have been so much... I don't know that it would have been better if it was an open world game, but it would have felt better if it felt less linear. If I felt like...
Yeah.
But Seamus, that's what it's trying to do. You are caught within the confines of this linear narrative that you yourself
and maybe that's why they took it out. Maybe that's why they took it out, because it just clashed with the idea of you being caught within a story.
But you know, when you think about it too much, that's bullshit. Like, whatever you do is the story. That's the out they have.
Yeah.
Is that whatever you did? It's just like, oh, that was the story. Maybe it contributes
Except for
more
driving
to feel
off
like
the
this
cliff.
impressive narrative if you're stuck on a linear trajectory. But you know what? That's not really a fun game. You know what also would capture a linear narrative while telling the story arguably much better?
Fuck you, birds.
Write a novel.
I don't know.
Plus, that would make the obvious contrast between Alan Wake's shitty writing, like as in person Alan Wake's terrible novel writing, and the hopefully acceptable prose of the actual author, the more jarring, and you communicate effectively that Alan Wake isn't a good book person. He isn't a good novel man.
Here's something they could have done. Upgrades for your flashlight so you could have, like, shadow people turn onto other shadow people and kill them. Or, like, burning something. Fun.
Remember that
stuff
time
like that.
where trees...
Why aren't there any female taken?
Did we ask
I
that
know,
last week?
right? Why
Oh,
are
it's
all the
because-
ladies taken?
Oh,
Or not taken.
The more I play through this game, the more I think that this is one of the major failings of the game, is the Taken seems so mundane. This game could have been so much more powerful if you didn't know what to think. If you didn't know what you were... If they were just so weird and creepy.
yeah.
And nightmarish.
And if they, like, hammered in more that these were people, you know? Like, if they...
Right.
You know, like how all the splicers in Bioshock, like all the
Right.
splicers, are all
It
like,
is like
"I'm
the
not a bad person!"
splicers.
Or something like that.
Well,
But the splicers were way better because the splicers did things and said things that made you go, oh, these people used
yeah,
to be
the
people.
game, like, almost specifically states that, you know, oh, you shouldn't feel bad for the... Well, you... Maybe you should
Yeah.
feel bad for what
Why
these
not?
people were like, but you shouldn't
Why
feel bad
not?
for shooting them, because they're dead. Just shoot them.
Yeah, it's
You
like...
should
oh,
feel
so
bad.
I
Why-
was...
Right.
But the point is, that was like an emotion you might have actually felt as, wow, I feel kind of
Yeah.
bad, this is really upsetting, and instead it's like, no, oh wait, you know, during playtesting we discovered a situation where some people were feeling an emotion, so we're looking into ways to mitigate that.
No, I don't mean, like, a little bit of conflict would have been acceptable, but you don't want to make people feel like a crappy person for
Oh,
playing the game. That's what
No,
Kane and Lynch does.
you're absolutely right. You don't want what we had at the beginning of this season, which is like, is Alan Wake just a mass murdering asshole?
Whatever you do in a video game, you generally want people to want to
It's
take
called
the
an
next
lake.
action. That's
Yeah.
that's I think an often neglected key rule.
But
Even Valve
it's not
occasionally
that-
fucks
it's
that
not
up,
that
like
you
with the
don't wanna
the
make them-
stalker cages.
it's not that you want to make them murder, it's that you want to make them regret what already happened to these people.
Right,
And
exactly.
that you've
like,
got to deal with it.
and
Yes,
making the bosses run around while talking about hot dogs and logging does not really make me feel anything for the characters that they were.
Yeah, alright, nobody's going to miss this guy.
Yeah, like what this is like this guy was entirely defined by his profession. Awesome. What a waste
To
of
be
space.
fair, in Bioshock, I did not feel sorry for anyone I killed in that game because they were all.
Well, no,
assholes.
because Rapture's full of assholes. Yes, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Well, that was part of
But also-
Rapture's setting, too.
But also,
An
to be
underwater
fair,
world filled with assholes. Come join us.
I honestly don't think Stucky had much else to say other than stuff about running a gas
Well,
station.
yeah, we hadn't, like, we'd seen him in one cutscene where he stumbled out of a bathroom and tried to give us keys as we drove off. It wasn't like it was an established character.
But that might have been a moment to
But
give him
like,
at least a little bit of
like
character.
Rusty, when he got
Don't you
turned
realize-
into Taken.
We're all, you know what we're arguing about? We're arguing about oh, what would be the best combat taunts to give these enemies? Here's the solution to that problem.
Yeah. I think Harbinger was the best combat taunts of all time.
That's what Stucky should have said. This hurts you. I know this hurts.
Maud had checked all of Stucky's rental cabins. There had been no sign of the wakes.
I mean, Stucky was never going to be able to have motivation, but you know, you could have had Rusty start talking about regret about the dog being injured or other things he's seen in his life other than just, you know, park regulations.
Park rules.
Look, you don't even have to establish anything beforehand. It might give you at least a little bit of, like, a twinge. If you're fighting Stucky and he yells, out of nowhere he yells something like, "Who's gonna feed my cat now?"
Just really mad about everything. Like, man, I had a fish.
Or if he's going, oh, it's so dark, and then, you know, he's like calling for, you know, somebody he cares about, and we'd be like, oh wow, Stucky had this person that he cares about, and he's evidently terrified that he's stuck in this darkness, even as we blow him away.
He even had that in the manuscript pages. It talks about how he liked Rose.
Yeah.
And there's a manuscript page before you meet him that you can go find.
That's right. But instead it's...
boy.
Park
You took Rose from me, Ryder boy!
Fuck the manuscript pages. Seriously, fuck that kind of exposition. Fuck. There, I said.
And
I hate
this stuff, I'm like, I could not believe. I was walking through this and it's like, we're in a ruin, we're alone. This has all the ingredients for being a fairly scary thing, and none of it. I wasn't even feeling a little bit of twinge of nervousness. It was just.
Yeah.
Oh, am I gonna have to shoot anybody in this room? No. Okay, look for batteries and flares.
I was just excited because we're getting exposition without actually having to pick up manuscript pages.
I think this was her house, the Light Lady's house in the 70s, which is a weird place for her house to be because it's on a fucking mountain with a mine, but whatever.
Journal to me on the
Maybe
TV.
she was a minor. Did you think about that, Josh? Maybe she was a minor.
No, she's
right. That
she's
makes
like in her
perfect
50s
sense.
now, so that means back then she still would have been in her 20s.
You know what? Never mind.
Actually, she would have been 10 years old if she's 50.
Oh. So, okay, never mind.
Yeah, she was a minor. Oh yeah, this fight.
I love hearing that.
Remember that part where you like, hey, is anyone gonna shoot me down here?
Going back to the Rusty thing, I think you could also have taken it in the other direction, where instead of making them really sympathetic and personable, you could have made the darkness, the dark presence itself, more of a real character, and actually, you know, once they're taken, those guys are gone, but then they speak and act as the dark presence, and then sort of make that more threatening.
Or the darkness takes or brings out the like shitty part of their personality. Like everybody has a shitty secret about who they are.
Oh yeah, that could be it could be an interesting, the dark side of whatever it is that made them a good person.
Yeah, dark
I actually hate coffee.
But we got none of that. We got smoke effects and zombies.
Yeah.
Coffee is the only thing that humanizes Alan Wake.
Yeah, I mean, even zombies would be bad. Zombies at least have some kind of creep factor, because, I mean, really, these are truckers. That's what we're fighting. We're fighting, like, guys in ball caps and flannel shirts.
No, we're not fighting truckers, James. We're fighting truckers you can't see very well.
Well, you are really freaking me out, man.
The darkness seems to have the ability to take... It takes the same people in the Pacific Northwest, that the vampires in From Dusk Till Dawn take in Mexico.
He smiled.
Truckers, drifters, campers.
Just diners. They just take everybody from diners.
You went through another rough period. Right now, it's very important that you stay calm.
I think everybody in that area
Way
is
to
from
give
a
away
diner
the beginning
in a
of the next chapter, you dumb game, you...
I actually liked this foreshadowing what was coming. I thought it was it was one thing that actually gave me a reason to go on. I'm like, weird, I'm gonna be sedated by Dr. Hartman? How am I gonna end up in that situation? So it did kind of give away a lot of the game's surprises, but at least gave me a sense of curiosity about how I'd get there, even if it spoiled the anxiety of, even if it spoiled the worry, it gave me something to wonder about.
But Mumbles is right. I mean, it's basically pre-exposition.
Yeah, it's true.
We just said we had her to make a play ball. You see? They got him writing for us.